AOC, who is a really good example of where the new Democratic Party is. I mean, you could argue that she is the, I'm going to say it, intellectual and spiritual leader of the new Democrat left. She's able to move the entire news cycle with one usually idiotic tweet. She's incredibly influential. You know, Pelosi still controls the machinery, but AOC is the next generation, and we all know it. And she's from New York City. Or actually, I believe she grew up in Riverdale, which is a very nice suburb of the city. But, you know, says she's from the Bronx, which technically Riverdale's in the Bronx. We'll talk about this another time. But here's what she said over the weekend that I thought was, if there was a nationwide contest to come up with the dumbest possible reason for the spike in crime. You know, if you were trying to come up with the most ridiculous single statement, I don't think that you could do better than what AOC just pulled out of thin air. I don't think you could do better than her approach to the crime wave in New York City, what she says about it. Remember, this is her hometown. My hometown, too. I know this place very, very well. It is less safe. The numbers say it, and I'm telling you. Things have gone downhill here. NYPD feels like they can't do their jobs. You're seeing video routinely that is just indicative of a lawlessness, anarchy, and violence. You can't even keep up with how many people, 20 people shot in 24 hours, 14 people shot in 12 hours. I mean, you keep having these statistics get put out, and this is new, and it doesn't stop. Why does AOC think that there is this crime wave? Get ready for this. Your brain is going to turn into mush just hearing it, but we'll all put our brains back together afterwards. Play clip 2.
So why is this uptick in crime happening? Well, let's think about it. Do we think this has to do with the fact that there's record unemployment in the United States right now? The fact that people are at a level of economic desperation that we have not seen since the Great Recession? Maybe this has to do with the fact that people aren't paying their rent and are scared to pay their rent. And so they go out and they need to feed their child and they don't have money. So you maybe they're put in a position where they feel like they either need to shoplift some bread or go hungry that night. Maybe it's the fact that unemployment provisions have not been given to everyone. Maybe it's because of the fact that some people still haven't gotten their stimulus checks yet.
Maybe it's the fact that it's like an even year and not an odd year, and like even years are like way scarier than odd years. How many things are you going to throw out there? We all know what's going on, you idiot. We all understand what's happening here. A Democrat movement known as Black Lives Matter seized upon one bad cop in Minneapolis to mobilize the left during a pandemic when everyone's already stressed and scared and there's bad stuff happening nationwide, and knew that the completely immoral, corrupt Democrat politicians and the public health experts that they make us listen to on a regular basis would say, oh, okay, well, protests are fine during a pandemic, but no funerals. Protests are fine, but no being with your loved ones in their last hours before they die in the hospital because, COVID. But let's get everyone to get thousands and thousands of people across the country. Oh, that seems fair-minded. No one stops to think, or no Democrats will publicly admit, that a huge part of the problem here is their policies, their decisions, their narrative. What they've been telling the American people has led us into this circumstance. But this is fascinating. AOC is saying maybe people have to steal bread, and that's why there's an uptick in crime. I told you about it was a 1-year-old boy. So pardon me for the correction. 1-year-old boy shot to death overnight in a playground in Brooklyn. This was over the weekend. The child was sitting in a stroller with a group of people who were having a barbecue when gunfire erupted. The boy was identified as 1-year-old DeVell Gardner Jr. 1-year-old kid shot at a barbecue in New York. Will there be any protests in his memory? Will there be anybody out on the streets from Black Lives Matter calling for an end to gang violence? Well, the problem with doing that from their perspective, from that movement's perspective, is that it would mean empowering and supporting police. And that's the one thing they don't want to do. Hey, Team Buck, thank you so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you like this video, please click that little thumbs up button so then it will log as liked. And also, if you want to see more great content from The First, please click subscribe.